Welcome to Cricutmas Day 3. Now, I'm pretty much devoting this entire video to this one item. And that one item, obviously you've seen by the thumbnail and by the title, is the Scoring Stylus. This thing has completely changed the way that I view crafts, or cardstock crafts, should I say. So essentially, with this one, what it does is when you're making something, like these little thingies that I have next to me, you know, I obviously have the entire little Christmas village. What it does is it scores each of the lines. So you don't have to worry about folding things in the wrong area, blah, 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 blah. I could go on. Up until the point where I had my Cricut, obviously I've been using the Silhouette brand for a few years. And I'd never really used a Cricut, and Silhouette doesn't have something like this. So I was never really interested in doing these kinds of things because, I mean, let's face it, it's a huge pain. So I pretty much never did any kind of cardstock crafts, folding projects, those kinds of things, because when it came to not having the scoring tool, what you would have to do is you would have to essentially cut little lines, kind of like a perforation, but with it the other way around. So you would have small cuts and then slightly larger areas in between. And for me, I didn't really like that whole effect that it gave on the project that you were busy making, because then it kind of, you'd fold it and you'd see these like little gaps on the line. For me personally, it looked a bit yucky. And then I got the ultimate toolkit, and it had this little device in it. And I can tell you, personally, for me, it has made me want to do so many paper crafts because of the fact that in a live stream, you know, or I did the fox in the live stream anyways, that would have taken forever to have gone through, and it would have looked really yucky if I hadn't had the scoring stylus. Because obviously you'd have these little edges, you'd have these little pokey holes on it. And it really changed the way that I viewed these kinds of crafts. I've said that probably about 12 times now, but yeah. So in that ultimate toolkit, I got the scoring stylus, and obviously a whole bunch of other things that I use pretty much regularly. But the scoring stylus is the one that I use. I wouldn't say the most, because it's probably the weeding tool that I use the most out of everything. But you know, the scoring stylus is like a very close second. And the weeding tool is kind of something that you have to buy, non-negotiable in my opinion. But the scoring stylus is not necessarily something that everybody needs. So for me, it's an absolute need if you're wanting to do any kind of paper crafts, card crafts, anything like that. It is perfect. And of course, with the scoring stylus, I've used it on these little boxes as well. And this was done with the craft board, which you can see just over here. And this is also really great to use it for that. But what I did find with the craft board is that it kind of breaks it a little bit. So I don't know if you'll be able to see there. If you look on the edge of the seam, you'll see it's kind of slightly torn almost. So when it comes to using the scoring stylus on your craft board, I would potentially recommend mirroring the design and scoring from the back, so that when you fold, it doesn't kind of crack, or at least those cracks don't show, because on the inside it'll be a lot smoother. So that's tip number one. When you're using, if you're using the craft board, is mirror the design and score it from the other side. Then of course, when it comes to setting up a project to use your scoring stylus, most of them want you to use the scoring wheel, and that's quite an easy fix that you can make. So once you've selected the material that you're going to be cutting or drawing on, or whatever the case may be, it'll go to the tools section. And in the tools section, you can click edit tools, and there you'll be able to change it from scoring wheel to a scoring stylus. And it's quite simply as easy as that when it comes to setting up the scoring stylus, which is pretty cool. Now, another thing that I love about using the scoring stylus as opposed to the scoring wheel, and I'm probably just saying this because I haven't tried the scoring wheel, but this particular thing is a very big benefit to using the scoring stylus, is that the scoring stylus fits in the pen slot, whereas the scoring wheel fits obviously in the blade slot. So if you wanted to score something and then cut it, you would then have to switch the two out. So you would then have to, you know, have the cut stop in the middle, take out the scoring wheel, and then put in the fine point blade, which is not a problem. I mean, let's face it, that's a good problem to have. But when it comes to using the scoring stylus, you can use the scoring stylus in the pen slot and then it'll score and immediately switch over into the cutting. So you don't have to worry about swapping out the two, you know, pausing it in between, that kind of stuff. Again, like I said, it's a nice problem to have, but it is a super, super useful tool. Now, you don't only have to buy it in the Ultimate Toolkit. You can buy it separately. I think it retails for around between 160 and 200 Rand, I think. I'll put the price just right here. I want to confirm that before giving you guys the wrong information. So yeah, if you're looking for something relatively inexpensive to buy, maybe send this to your husband, send this to your wife, send this to your daughters, your sons, your family, because this is something that's relatively inexpensive that you can buy that will really change the game in your paper crafts. And that's kind of why I love it. It's opened up so many different crafts for me, and it's really cheap. You don't have to worry about breaking the bank with this particular one. A nice stocking stuffer. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Stick around in my channel for some more Days of Cricutmas. I'm going to try and focus on Days of Cricutmas now for the next couple of days. This is day 3, so I've still got 9 more things to share with you. 9 of my favorite Cricut tools that I'm going to use. They're not all going to be crazy expensive. Some of them will be quite cheap, like these kinds of things, so I hope that you enjoy that. So subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified of my videos. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, as it lets the algorithm know that this is a good video. And I will see you in my next video. And remember, be kind to someone today. See you soon.